gamers, gals, and non-binary pals, I stumbled across this little thread. I have to do my YouTuber due diligence and commentate on every situation I see and say, guys, the situation is crazy. Let's talk about it. And give you my pure unfiltered thoughts for like 30 to 50 minutes. Then my unfortunate editor slave Doodle will have to somehow whittle down into something to make me hear somewhat coherent. So let's look at a couple of these answers and talk about them in no particular order. What are some uncomfortable Yu-Gi-Oh topics and conversations that you feel aren't being talked about right now? And why not? MBT, right out of the gate, Adderall. Is this a big thing in tourneys? It's my first time hearing about it, but I'm usually out of the loop. Quite literally every intellectual sport or game has at minimum 30% of their top performers railing Adderall. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't want to be that guy, but I have seen lots of scenarios at regionals and YCSs where people will leave the venue and either start smoking the fattest joints imaginable that contain who knows what, or, you know, they start popping a couple pills. I think the funniest experience was at like an LA regional. I was like playing True Draco because I had nothing better to fucking do with my life. And a bunch of guys, there was like a group of four guys, which I was like kind of acquainted with because we like saw each other at the regional scene. And they were like,
hey, do you want some of this?
And they had a bag of pills. And I was like, oh no thanks. Like, no, like I don't want to do any medication.
And they're like, oh, okay, like what about this then?
And they pulled out a second bag of pills. And I'm like, no please, no medication. Like,
oh, don't worry, this one is just caffeine pills.
And I'm like, fuck it, whatever. And I took one and I went X4 drop because I just performed really badly. Weed is not a PED. The point isn't the fact that weed is like the opposite of a PED. The point is that drugs should not be taken at a tournament. You should be as clean as a whistle and not be, you know, smoking the fattest boofs of all time outside of like tournament venues, you know what I mean? Fuck it, we all boosting from now on. Fuck it, bro. The caffeine weed cigars. Like, I have no issue with weed or recreational drug use. I live in fucking California. Like, there's a fent zombie on every block. But I do have an issue with like heavy drug culture being normalized, especially around environments of kids. Like, there is a problem when little fucking Timmy or like Jimothy in like 6th grade, he like steps outside to eat his fucking lunchly and you see like a group of top table pros fucking railing Adderall or smoking like the biggest boof clouds of all time. Like, indirectly, he's gonna be like subconsciously primed to like associate this with like Yu-Gi-Oh play, and that's just how the game is. It's kind of like one of those things that should definitely be left to be behind only at like closed doors in hotel rooms, you know what I mean? That's something that should not be out in the open. It's really bad when they get exposed at that age. Gotta wait until at least 7th grade. Exactly. That's when you can hand them the fucking brick of cocaine. This is one of the most cursed topics and probably the one that's most taboo. I wish you the best of luck. Giant fucking nerds who take shit way too seriously take Adderall to play Yu-Gi-Oh. Get some sleep, get a better diet, exercise a little bit, minimum caffeine, and drink water. Avoid alcohol, drugs, deterrents. Bunch of third rates using Adderall. Like, unironically, even though this post is kind of written shittily and mean, it is like objectively true. You'd be surprised how much better of a functioning human being you'll be if you like ate properly, if you like had a normal diet, exercised like maybe once or twice a week, and like slept 8 hours. I'm not even joking. You don't need to like fucking do like the craziest exercise of all time. Like, you know, get some cardio in, do some resistance training like twice a week, and like eat some vegetables. It'll get you there. Especially with sleep. Sleep is like the actual biggest thing. Like, there's a reason people say it's more dangerous to drive sleepy than it is to drive drunk. It is actually way more dangerous to drive sleepy than it is drunk. Centuria, Ancient Gear. What do you think? That sounds horrible. What is the synergy? There is no synergy. I honestly never considered that people could take drugs to perform Yu-Gi-Oh or any other card game. People will do anything to be perceived as good in XYZ thing. People will do their fucking best to cheat at anything, dog.
People are like, oh, I need my fucking regional creds because then I could be a super saiyan.
Like, chat, there's a rule of cool when it comes to cheating. Don't do it, not because like it's morally bad, but because you're gonna have to forever one-up yourself. Like, think about it. Let's say like you cheat at a regional and you get away with it. Also, don't cheat because it's against Konami policy, by the way. I'm not endorsing cheating in any way. But like, let's say you cheat at a regional and you get first place and you don't get caught. Like, oh, you won the regional. And then everyone's gonna look to you as like the guy who did really well at that one event. And then you're gonna want to live up to expectations. And you're gonna cheat more, and you're gonna cheat more at regionals, at more regionals, at YCSs, at nationals, and at whatever. when will it ever stop? When is the cheating or PED stuff or that sort of use, when does the edging ever stop in order to just give yourself the quote-unquote best chance at winning? The answer is it's never gonna stop until you get caught or you get banned or something in between. So just don't do it. There's no redeeming quality to. Can you please stop, because I literally can't refill my prescriptions? One of my close friends, like, there have been times where he's been like, hey, I'm going to like an event soon. Do you know where I can get Adderall? Because I literally can't get my prescription refilled because there's a massive shortage. And like, you know, partially it's due to COVID and partially it's due to like bad supply chains, but also it's also partially due to like recreational drug use. Like, please, chat. I don't know, go take a nap. Drugs aren't that cool. Like, sleep is way better. If you have like a good 9-hour sleep and you wake up naturally on your own and you feel refreshed and you get out of bed like instantly, that shit's awesome. Why is Paul so goated and how could he get to like him? Thanks, Foxy. We don't talk enough about how a sizable chunk of top players are either transphobic or openly associate with transphobic people. This is one of like the biggest things that I fucking hate. And it's like, it's not just transphobia, it's also just the idea that like a lot of pro players, I don't want to be that guy, but they're kind of pieces of shit. There are a lot of pro players who are not only, you know, very mean, very toxic, you know, racist, transphobic, bigoted, but also a lot of other things, like, you know, rapists, domestic abusers, other things. Like many other things. It's not cool. I don't know why so many Yu-Gi-Oh players will kind of like turn the blinders on and be like,
Yeah, guys, let's go Chris LeBlanc.
let's just forget that, you know, he was a domestic abuser. A lot of this stuff just gets like swept under the rug. And the fact that Konami kind of does his best to turn his blinders off to social media outside of exactly YouTube videos is not cool. Not a fan of that. But yeah, I mean, obviously the fact that Yu-Gi-Oh is a fucking boys club made by a bunch of turbo nerds. Definitely not a big fan that, you know, a lot of minority groups just get caught in the crossfire by just, you know, people being shitty. Any examples? Yassine has misgendered on purpose Jessica Robinson many times. This is like, Yassine doing this is actually insane. Like, I'm not even joking. There have been a lot of comment sections where, if you guys don't know, Yassine, like, I think last year had a massive Andrew Tate arc where he was like, yeah guys, I love Andrew Tate. Andrew Tate's the best because he teaches men how to be men and women the role of women. By the way, that is 100% like word for word. Like, those words are like almost verbatim. And a lot of people were like, yeah, Yassine, that's kind of fucking weird. And he just like doubled down and said,
This is part of my culture and religion, guys. But I get that I can't speak with an open mind around you guys. I'm gonna have to shut down my Twitter.
and that's why he doesn't have a Twitter anymore. It just doesn't exist anymore. Yassine 656? It doesn't exist. Wasn't that Triff? No, it was also Triff. But also, whenever Jessica Robinson would come up in like Yassine videos or shorts, there's one short in particular where Yassine, where someone like dead named Jessica.
Yeah, Jessica's a he instead of a she.
He fucking like did the heart comment. He like did the like, this is a favorite comment of mine. Like, oh my, holy shit, bro, you gotta relax. But it does suck that the Yu-Gi-Oh community is relatively pretty small. Like, there may be about like 50 to 60, like there may be like only around 30 to 40 household names within the Yu-Gi-Oh slash YugiTube slash like pro Yu-Gi-Oh community. And like, as a result of the nature of it being very small and interconnected, people are kind of theoretically forced to play buddy-buddy. And I'm gonna take my liberal stand against it. I will call people out on their bull. Just who fucking cares about whatever moral grandstanding. They delayed Aroma's support, so Jessica wouldn't qualify for Worlds. So true. The Ragnaraka stuff just came out. That shit's broken. How genuinely miserable and unpleasable some people are in this community. While I have harsh posts about Konami, I also have positive ones and also point out what I think could be done better. Some people only complain, and no matter what's given or happening. Okay, I'll admit, I'm kind of in this camp. Like, obviously, I think it's very apparent that I've built my brand upon some sort of using clicks and titles for outrage and blah, 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 blah. Well, I do admit, like, half of it is, you know, just me being very biased in my supreme hatred for Konami. I will say that, you know, as a Yu-Gi-Oh player, it is way more easy to be frustrated at decisions Konami makes and to take away wins from them than it is to, you know, be happy about the game. Because there are a lot of things that Yu-Gi-Oh is super cool with. Think of like Yu-Gi-Oh merch. Think of like the Yu-Gi-Oh gold-plated cards. How cards now are, relatively at least, way more accessible than they were years ago. But the big problem is, even if we have like a bunch of really cool side quests, if the main game is still extremely frustrating and gate-kept by price, it kind of takes away a lot of the cool stuff surrounding Yu-Gi-Oh. It's very frustrating to try and hear people be like,
hey guys, like Yu-Gi-Oh's in a really cool spot right now. There's a lot of cool merchandise. There's a lot of cool whatever. There's a lot of like cool side sets and side product and you know, like blah blah blah.
and like you talk to my friend Bryce and she's like, yeah, like I like Yu-Gi-Oh as much as the next guy, but I don't want to play this game anymore. It's just too expensive to keep up with, and like the decks just don't feel that fun anymore because tier 1 decks feel so head and shoulders above everything else that I don't want to play this game that much anymore. Like she's literally selling her whole collection like in the process of it, and I'm like, damn, like shit. Bryce was like a pretty good friend, and like seeing her quit is just like, shit dog. 07. Shout out to Doodle, by the way, who I'm literally sponsoring. Oh, by the way, chat, just really cool time to implement it. But Team Blunder, the esports team, is technically a real thing now. Doodle's our one and only sponsored player. I thought it'd be funny. Wish Doodle luck. Doodle, you better win those case tournaments. I put a lot of money on the line. Decks and cards only get affordables 8 to 16 months after they're no longer strong enough to compete. Adventure Engine was stupidly powercraft weeks after its reprint. It is so funny how the Adventure Engine, which is one of the most broken engines like of all time, somehow in some universe ended up getting powercraft. Like it's an engine with an Omni Negate, a bounce, free link material, like a double snatch steal. It's fucking crazy. How is that shit even possible? 07 Stevie's bank account. Doodle, I sent you a fucking SP Typhon and like 500 Azamita cards. You better fucking do well or we have to renegotiate this contract. People are saying the game is dying, but YCS Niagara was the largest YCS held in Canada and Bologna has over 3,000 tickets sold. The main problem isn't the idea that, like, sure, you could say that YCS Bologna has over 3,000 tickets sold, but are 3,000 people actually going to play the main event? Or are they going to show up for side events, or just to show up to the venue, or to claim their pre-reg prize of like their playmat and their cool little coin, and then just like fuck off to like hang out with their friends? Big spoilers, I think it's mainly going to be like the latter second and third option. Like, I'm an optimist for Konami and the fucking player base's ability to turn off the blinders every set and just be like, yeah, let's play at an event, guys. But I'm also a realist in the sense where the past couple months of events have definitely had dwindling appearances. Again, like one of the biggest examples of this is how the California locals and regional scene is basically fucking dead. Like, California is one of like the bigger zones for competitive Yu-Gi-Oh play and Yu-Gi-Oh player density. And when you hear that regionals are like barely going over 200 people in populated areas like NorCal and SoCal, it's actually like insane. It generally makes me worry when I talk to stores or go to like card shops on non-OTS days and they're just like, yeah, we don't really carry new Yu-Gi-Oh product. There's not really much of a point. It's depressing. It's sad. This game is literally a gambling addiction for children and adults. When we were kids and we opened packs that, ooh, odd, our way at 5-star crawling dragon, but Bond summoned it and we knew no better. Today, people rip packs, and if they don't pull the chase card, they're disappointed. If they don't pull at least a $5 high rarity card, they mentally or physically toss the cards into the garbage. Okay, to be fair, keep gambling, chat. You just gotta buy another box. You're just gonna pull the better. You're just gonna pull well. If you pull a Mulcharmy and a box is like, $80, you made all your money back. And you could just buy another box with your winnings. Just keep gambling, chat. Pull a Dominus Impulse, you're 2/3 of the way there. But I wouldn't say that this is like a quote-unquote gambling addiction. A gambling addiction is when I saw my friend K Woo buy a case of Rage of the Abyss, pull 2 Mulcharmies, and was like,
damn, I should buy the next case, because then the next case will have 4 Mulcharmies based on, this ratio.
And then he got a 0 Mulcharmy case for some reason. Then he's like,
damn, I'm gonna buy 1 more case.
that is what actual gambling addiction looks like. He could afford it because he works a tech job and I hate him because he makes a disgusting amount of money. But this is also kind of less in line with players being disappointed with not hitting the jackpot and more of players being dissatisfied with product as a whole. That's not addiction, it's called dedication. Honestly, my fucking goat. You're so real. Doodles take said cards from garbage. Doodle, I would ship you bulk as like part of our sponsor deal if it wasn't so expensive to do so. But yeah, it's less of like an issue regarding like people not fueling their gambling addiction jackpot, and more of the idea that Yu-Gi-Oh product as a whole isn't very satisfying or fun to open, because Yu-Gi-Oh is a game where it is so expensive to play and there's only one format of playing this game in 99% of scenarios. Don't talk to me Common Cherry or Edison players. For most players, the only way most of us can play this game is almost exclusively through, you know, pulling the high rarity card, because we can either use it in our meta deck or we could sell it and, you know, afford, you know, like a playset of some other low rarity hand trap staple or something like that. And like, what are you gonna do with like your pile of bulk? Like, what am I gonna do with like this 6 samurai common core and my one final bringer at the end? I might keep the final bringer, but I'm not playing 6 samurai. There's no reason for me to hold on to this. Like, I might as well just fucking toss this shit, because it would probably be more frustrating and annoying to try and find people to take this off my hands than it is to just tell the recycling company, all right, dog, you got it. Like, I hope fucking Jimothy working sanitation can afford a 6 samurai core now. Income is now a large determining factor in how well you can play the game. Full Los is more than any kid can afford, and it's a mandatory 3 of if you want to be competitive. Remember when Dyer was saying that this card wasn't going to be good? I'm not sure if she was trolling or this is like, or it was like a really stupid bit, but it's so depressingly funny knowing that some decks will literally income gatekeep you. Let's look at like the top deck list for Niagara Falls. Number 1, deck price, $1,300 fucking dollars. Chat. My mortgage on a house is not that much higher than this. If I have to choose between paying rent versus being able to buy a Fire King deck, I know which one I'm picking personally. To be fair, almost a third of that is Fuaros at $450. Here's an idea. Why is Fuaros this expensive in the first place? Why are any of these cards this expensive in the first place? You are not wrong. But I raise you the question, why is one playset of a card this expensive? Why did it ever get this bad? Why is Dominus Impulse $61 a copy? Why is Bonfire $25 a copy? Got a reprint, by the way. Why is Fuaros $130 a copy? Why is Deception a 2 of in this? Why is it a 2 of? Why not just put like 3 at this point? Why not just play like 1 or 3? I don't fucking know, man. Why is Puruli? Oh my god, Puruli is $60 now? My god, that's more than my monthly income. Yeah, it's like, it's disgusting. It's disgusting that in some countries, decks and engines and whatevers will cost more than your country's normal income. We don't talk about Doodle's monthly income. Chat, I think I've like quintupled Doodle's monthly income ever since I met them, and I am still surprised how they're not dead. It is disgusting. It is disgusting how terrible the fucking poverty line can truly be. But hey, we're doing better now. Shout out to Kelly Effect. Mandatory 3 of staple example secret rares in the main set passed. Ash, Imperm. They were not $100 back then. No, they were. No, they were. Ash Blossom, after like the first event, $130. Imperm, $120. Phantasme, $150. I remember Imperm's price real well, because I was playing Altergeist back then. I could only dream of Imperm into Multifaker. Good times. Phantasme is still money? No, it's not. Got a reprint in Rare Collection. You're gonna tell me that this is big money? You're gonna tell me that this is the real deal? Now this. Oh yeah, 22 cents. Yes, go fuck yourself, Billy. Compared to Doodle's income, it might be. Oh my god, 22 cents. We're eating good tonight, boys. Those are a couple complaints in the Yu-Gi-Oh community. Thank you, Team APS, for letting me bum this thread off of you guys. And let me know what your guys' complaints are in the Yu-Gi-Oh community right now. It could be taboo, like fucking Adderall abuse apparently. It could be something simple, like Yu-Gi-Oh players complaining, or racism, or transphobia, or like 50 other phobias. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys in the next video.